The High Court in Kampala quashed the Media Council of Uganda's directive to accredit journalists to cover the 2021 general elections and other state events. The same court ruled that the accreditation exercise was illegal, irrational, and procedurally irregular, and stopped government and other security agencies from implementing it.
So how many have we registered? Right now where I am, I don't have the full list, but I can confidently say there are over 400.
Media Council is not supposed to be a restrictive organization or entity of government. It's supposed to be a facilitative body of government for the media and press freedom. What it was doing then was just to disenfranchise so many journalists from covering elections.
The law does not envision the Media Council issuing press cards to any journalist, but we saw you rushing to receive the press cards. That is an illegality which the courts have called to order.
First of all, it is important for you to know that we were not registering journalists in the manner that is the law. We were issuing press cards to journalists so that they may be able to cover the elections safely. In the same way that we issued to them press cards during the COVID lockdown and they were able to move at night.
The journalists were required to pay 50,000 shillings each, while their editors were directed to pay 200,000 shillings each to obtain accreditation. Following the court decision, the Human Rights Network for Journalists in Uganda and Freedom for Expression Hub are demanding for accountability of the money illegally collected from journalists and the media houses.
The very essence for which it was paid is illegal, is ultra-vires, is irregular. So you cannot hold on to something that the court has declared as illegal.
So the question to you, the media, is to find out how many journalists paid, how much was paid, what is the Media Council using that money for. One of the functions of the council is to promote journalism through capacity building. Has it used some of those resources to, come up with capacity building initiatives for journalists?
We are waiting for an advisement and opinion from them on what the ruling means and its effects. And then thereon we can be able to confidently and authoritatively say what we think is there. But what is important to know is that the mandate of the Media Council as provided for under Section 9 of the Press and Journalists Act is quite wide, and it doesn't only include registering journalists.
The High Court ruled based on submission by the Human Rights Network for Journalists in Uganda that the Media Council is not fully constituted and was operating illegally.
Even if it is not the number required by law, for so long as it is got the quorum, you can still work.
Can it be constituted without need you?
Yes, it can.
Before that registration, the National Institute of Journalists of Uganda must enroll those journalists. And we know that that institution does not exist. So basically, the Media Council was exceeding its jurisdiction within the law, and therefore we went to court challenging its improper procedure.
The court decision was very clear that any registration or accreditation without the presence of the NIJU, National Institute of Journalists in Uganda, is illegal.
According to Human Rights Network journalist lawyer Catherine Anite, the Press and Journalists Act has rendered the legal provision obsolete.
They have cut off the hands of the Media Council, and that needs to bring us to the drawing board. That law, the Press and Journalists Act, is basically an obsolete law.
However, she says, journalists and the media houses are partly to blame for agreeing to participate in an illegality.
What is the problem? And sometimes I feel like the media has also birthed its own failures, because we know you're disunited, and without very strong bodies to advocate for your rights, then we shall see more control from the government, because they know that you're disorganized.
The petitioners have also called on the media fraternity to return to the drawing board and participating in amending the laws instead of leaving it to government.
Maybe from that we shall see a self-regulatory system where journalists are able to regulate themselves and not the state.
And as efforts being made to self-regulate the media, Uganda needs to borrow a leaf from the rest of the world.
Registration of journalists has been rejected nationally and internationally, especially if it's not geared towards planning for the improvement of journalists.
Jingo Francis, NTV.